Today, I'm going to show you how to create the Drink of Despair, also known as the Emerald Potion. The things we'll need to create our Drink of Despair is a 1-glass bottle, and I am using the 50 milliliter sample size bottle of the Crystal Head Vodka. I thought the bottle was awesome. The big full-size bottles are amazing as well, but the mini ones are even better just because everything is always better when it's made super tiny. We are going to be using some rubbing alcohol, but you could also use distilled water and glycerin. We're going to use some Folk Art Color Shift metallic paint in green flash, but you could also use some green mica powder and a little bit of a neon green food coloring. We're going to use some black cording, a funnel to help with filling, scissors, a hole punch, a black marker, a bead or marble to go on the top of our bottle, and some silver hot glue as well as a glue gun. And then optionally, you can use some hairspray and some baby powder, cornstarch, flour, anything like that. And you can also optionally use one of the coaster lights or a little tea light and a book box. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that in just a little bit here. And finally, we will need our labels printed on sticker paper, and a link for this is in the description down below. Let's get started. Would you like to win a potion like this? Then consider supporting me over on Patreon. All of my patrons have a chance to win one monthly potion bottle. Link is in the description down below. The first thing we're going to do is take our bottle, and you're going to want to remove any of the labels. There's one that goes back here as well as the one up here. And then take some rubbing alcohol and make sure all the adhesive is off. And then I cut off the little strip that you get under here after opening the bottle, just so then that way it's not flopping around. So we're going to unscrew our bottle so it's ready to fill, but we're going to actually mix our potion in a separate container and pour it in just because of how tiny it is. So to do that, we're going to use our rubbing alcohol. And like I said, this bottle is 50 milliliters, so we're going to put about 50 milliliters in here. And I want to add just a tiny bit of our paint here. And then we're going to mix that up. And I think that's a pretty good color, and we've got a decent swirl. So we're going to go ahead and put our little funnel in here, and we're going to fill up our skull. And again, anytime you're mixing anything with mica powder or metallic paint in a separate container, you always want to make sure that it's good and mixed up so that you're not leaving any of your mica powder behind in the other container. Now that was 50 milliliters, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit more. And I think that's good because you want to make sure that there's some room to mix the potion up. So we're going to cap that off. And we get a really great swirling. Now, like I said, this was Crystal Head Vodka, which if you wanted to make this a drinkable potion, you could leave the vodka in here and then just add some of the edible luster dust or brew powder like I just showed you in my last video. So I'll put a card up above to that in case you didn't see it. But that would be a great way to make a drinkable version of this for a party or a costume, anything like that. Now, in the books, the Emerald Potion or the Drink of Despair, which is the potion that Dumbledore drinks in the cave when Harry and Dumbledore are trying to get Voldemort's Locket Horcrux out of the basin. In the books, the potion is described as being weirdly phosphorus and almost glowing. So because of that, we have this great color, which is awesome, but I wanted to add a little bit more of that glowing element. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do that with this tiny bottle. One of my longtime subscribers, Jackie Remus, actually sent me a video a very long time ago, and I apologize, I don't remember the original video I watched, I just remember watching it, where they took a book box like this, and then they inserted a light in it. And then they were able to place their potion on top of the lit box and illuminate it, and it would just be coming out of the box. So I'm going to actually show you a couple different ways we can do this. Again, it's because this potion is so tiny that most light methods wouldn't work well. So I also have here one of the light up coasters that we have used on multiple potions before. And these are really great because you just push the button and you get the lights on the bottom. And again, that works really well as well, except it's a lot bigger. Even the mechanisms in the middle are bigger than the base of the potion. I did attempt to cut one out. It kind of works. I actually tried to mask it when it was on the potion with some creepy cloth. Yeah, just, it didn't look that great. So I decided not to go that route. However, I did take one of these coasters and I covered it with some black velvet, as you can see here. So I just used the sticker portion of it to stick some black velvet on there. Used a hot glue gun to kind of stick it on there. And then we can use this as a little pedestal to light our potion. And let me turn off this light so you can kind of see how it illuminates it. So you get a really great illumination. So whichever one of my patrons wins this potion bottle this month is going to get this little disc so that they can light it up at their homes as well. So yeah, I hope you guys can see how cool this looks when it's on the little disc. So let me turn my light back on here. So I wanted to show you guys a couple different ways that you can actually light this potion up if you'd like to. Obviously, the color that I chose of this is kind of a phosphorus green in and of itself, and it kind of gives an illuminative quality to it just because of the color of the paint. But if you want to take it a step further and light it up, these are how to do it. So how I did this book box, I got this book box at Hobby Lobby, and I loved this one because it just has this really great like embossed design, and then it has a magnetic closure. So all I did was take my little tea light here, and this is one that actually lights up white, and all I did was pull the actual flame part of it off, which left me with a light like this. So we've got the little LED light here that's just a little nub, and then I figured out which drill bit was the right size. We drilled a hole in the book, and I'm able to just kind of squeeze my little light in there. Now, you could definitely glue this into place, but I found that this one doesn't really seem to need it because it fits in there so well. And then that gives us the illuminative hole in the book. However, if we don't want that, we just turn it off. Now, you could definitely get a remote control version of this. You could do a timered version of this, whatever you would like to do. I'm just going to be able to turn it on when I want to display it, but then we can stick our potion on here and get really great illumination. And the beautiful part about this is you could do this with any potion. You could add multiple lights on here, anything like that to kind of get the look you're going for, but when it's off, you don't even notice it. It just looks like a regular book. So, super fun. Thank you, Jackie, for showing me that, so then that way I could show you guys another way to light up our potion. But that is how we are going to light up our Drink of Despair to give it that glowing quality since it is so tiny. Because this is a darker potion, because of all of the qualities that it possesses, it induces fear, delirium, extreme thirst. It can't be scooped up, vanished, parted, siphoned away. You can't charm it or transfigure it away, anything like that. The only way to get rid of this potion is by ingestion. I feel like it would be sold in Knockturn Alley, which is probably where Voldemort would have found it if he didn't brew it himself. So because of that, I want to give this bottle a look like it has been sitting on the shelf in, say, Borgin and Burke's or something along those lines, because it's such a dangerous potion that it's one that's kind of been sitting there for a while, similar to the way the cursed opal necklace would have sat in Borgin and Burke's or any of those shops for quite some time until somebody was brazen enough to go ahead and purchase it. So because of that, we're going to give this bottle a look of, one, being important, and two, we're going to give it a dusty look. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that now. So to finish adorning our bottle, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our tiny label and we're going to put it on the back of the bottle where they had their little label. I figured it's a perfect spot. It's already made for the label. We might as well. So just like normal, I went around the outside edge with a matching marker just to give it a more finished look. And we're going to stick this on our bottle. And then rub it down good, and because the edges are kind of rounded, you just kind of want to make sure that they are rubbed down really good so that it's actually adhering to the specific rectangle area on the back of this bottle. And then that way, we've got our little Drink of Despair label back here. Then we're going to take our black cording, and we are going to wrap the neck of our bottle, similar to the way we have done in several other potion videos before, as well as me showing you how to do this on page 4 of my book, The Wizard's Craft Book. Okay, so once you get the top of your bottle wrapped, we are going to have our bead ready here. And we're going to take our silver hot glue, make sure it's nice and hot, and we're going to drip it onto the top of our bottle. And we're going to press our bead into the top. And make sure that it's centered. And then if there's any areas that don't have enough glue, just add some while it's still hot. And if you don't have a super high heat hot glue gun like I do, you can also use a heat gun or a really hot hairdryer to help accelerate your drips if need be. And if you get any that you don't like, you just pull them off. Okay, so now that we have that part done, we can continue to embellish our bottle. The next thing we're going to do is give a faux dust effect on here that won't come off like regular dust will. So to achieve that, we're going to use some hairspray. It doesn't matter what kind, you just want it to be an aerosol so it's easy to spray the bottle. And then I'm going to be using some of this cornstarch baby powder. I picked this up at the dollar store. It's a really big container and it's perfect for this. But like I said, you could use flour, cornstarch, any type of powder, actual dust. You know, you could always take some of the dust out of your vacuum cleaner, anything like that to do this. But all I'm going to do is hit my bottle from up above, just light sprays. So then that way it's going to hit the areas that dust would normally hit. And then I'm going to take my powder bottle here. And we are going to, I'm trying to show you guys, just kind of take and fluff the powder on here so we get a really light coating. You don't want it to be like super cakey. You just want it to look natural and like it's been sitting there for a while. Now, I like to let this sit and dry for a minute and then blow off the excess. And then if need be, you can also use a paintbrush to just kind of brush away any excess so you can see what's actually stuck on and what's not. And then you can always go back and do a second coat of this as well. But this gives a really great aged look where it's just sitting on the shelf waiting for the right person to come buy it. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see it on camera, but as you can see, it just gave us this very light, dusty finish on here that I think just kind of helps add to the ambiance of this potion. And I would recommend doing that outside or in a garage because it just made my whole work area look like I hadn't dusted in a month or more, with a nice fine layer of powder all over it. So I just had to make a little dusting break quick before we continued on. Okay, so for the next step of this, we are going to take the tag that I have put on here, and actually, hang on, it has a layer of dust on it right now. And we are going to first fold this on the little crease line that I have put on here before we take any backing paper off, just so the tag is already going to want to go in the direction that we want it to. Okay, so once we have it folded and creased, we can then take the backing paper off. And we're going to start to make our tag by putting it together and sticking it to itself. Now, the edges are not going to be perfect because we hand cut this out. So at this point, now that it's together, we can take our scissors and clean up the edges, and then we'll go around the whole outside edge with our black marker to make everything match. And actually, I don't think my edges are that bad, so I think I'm just going to go around with the marker, and that should give it a finished look here. And once that's done, we're going to punch our hole. I always recommend that you punch it on the front side here, so then that way if it doesn't line up perfectly on the back, it's not as noticeable. So we're going to line this up and punch our hole in our tag. And then again, I like to take the fine tip of my marker here and go around the inside of that hole just to help give it a little bit more of a finished look. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take our cording, which got dusted as well, so that actually works out because I would have otherwise recommended that you take a little bit of the powder, put it on your hands, and just kind of rub it over so it matches the rest of the bottle. But we're going to figure out where we want the length to be, and I think right about there is probably good. We're going to make our knot. And I'm going to cut the ends. And then I'm going to kind of fray out the ends a little bit just because, again, I want it to look like it's been sitting there a while. And we are going to put the string through the hole. And then we're going to bring this up, and I'm going to push that through the opening here. And we get our little tag that we can then put over the top of our bottle. Now, I want to take this one step further, and I want to crinkle up the tag, so we're literally going to just fold it up. I mean, literally, we just kind of destroyed it. And then I'm going to open it back up and smooth it out. Just so, again, it kind of adds to that aged vibe. And then if need be, we can kind of go around the edges and kind of bend it in a little bit. Just kind of mess it up and age it some. Okay, so now that I have my tag all done and it's got its little aged look on it, we're just going to put it over the bottle. and put it into place. And I think that looks great. So yeah, that pretty much completes our little Drink of Despair potion. And then we can take our little lit book here, shake our potion up, and put it on the little illuminated base. And there you have it. Our Drink of Despair potion. Perfect for that dark corner of our potion and prop collection we've been making along the way. So if you guys like this video, give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And we will catch you guys later. Thanks so much.